In today's video, I'm going to be discussing the matter of seating position, posture, and whether eyes should be kept open or closed during meditation. Now, if you've ever asked the question, how should I sit when I meditate? You've probably encountered a wide variety of entirely different answers. You've probably seen the rather well-known lotus position, maybe the similar half lotus position, and maybe you've even thought that you really need to sit in one of these positions if you are going to meditate. But is that actually the case? Do you actually need to sit in one of these special positions? So the first thing that I'm going to discuss is, of course, position. Does position actually matter? Is there a right or wrong position when you are meditating? The answer is yes and no. There is no mandatory position that you must be seated in when meditating. Anyone who tells you otherwise is ill-informed, pretty much. You can sit in a chair, you can sit with crossed legs, you can sit in the lotus position, you can lay on your back, you can lay on your side, or you can even meditate while standing, or even while walking around. However, that said, there may be a right position for you. In other words, some positions may be more conducive than others when it comes to having long, deep meditation sessions. Some positions may make it easier for the mind to wander. Others may cause pain or discomfort that causes you to wish to end your session early. Some positions may cause issues like falling asleep. Some positions still may be impractical because of a disability or an injury that causes difficulty in getting into that particular position in the first place. And what about posture? Well, correct posture, like an upright spine, can aid in your concentration. Once again though, it is not an absolute necessity. Incorrect posture may make meditation more difficult, but it will not prevent you from doing it. Now, I wanted to get these points out of the way right away because I've encountered people who said that they can't meditate because it's simply too uncomfortable for them to sit for long periods of time. Their back hurts, or they can't keep their back upright in the first place. Well, if that sounds like you, don't worry. If all you can do right now is to sit slouched over in a chair or lay down on your bed, then do that. Meditating with improper posture or in positions that aren't conducive to fruitful meditation sessions is still 1,000,000 times better than not meditating at all. In time, you should also find that more positions open up to you, and correct posture becomes easier to achieve. Let's say, for example, that you want to sit cross-legged with your back upright, but you just can't do it. Well, your body is not used to sitting for long periods of time, so it may need to be eased into it. First, you can start in a comfortable chair, back propped up with a soft pillow. Then you can gradually lose the back support and eventually sit cross-legged, unaided. Now, this process won't happen in one day, but over weeks or months of regular meditation. Don't worry though, because like I said, you can use any position for now. One that works for you is going to be just fine. Anyway, back to the positions themselves. I mentioned that some may be more right for you than others. But why exactly is that? Well, your level of comfort really can affect meditation. Too little comfort and you will find yourself unable to stay still for the duration of meditation. Or you may not even be able to sit for the duration at all. You may just find that you get distracted and you're too uncomfortable and you just decide to end it early. Or you may find yourself constantly shifting and moving between different positions. Now, on the other hand, if you have too much comfort, and you may find it a struggle to actually concentrate. You may find that the mind is dull, zoning out, and that you nod in and out of sleep during your longer sessions. So you can identify which seating position will aid you by noticing where you are most struggling in your meditation sessions right now. If you are getting severe aches and pains and struggling to sit for the full duration of meditation, try moving more towards comfort. Take a more relaxed, loose position. Consider using pillows to prop up your back, or even think about laying down on your back or on your side. If you're finding yourself zoning out a lot during meditation, or falling asleep, consider trying a less comfortable, more rigid position. If you've been laying down, sit. If you've been sitting in a chair, try sitting cross-legged on the floor. If you've been sitting cross-legged on the floor, try a more difficult posture like the half lotus, and try to put more focus on maintaining an upright spine. Now, two things to note here. First of all, you should not change your seating position during a meditation session unless you feel you absolutely need to because the current position is too uncomfortable. Otherwise, you'll simply get into the habit of constantly shifting position. Instead, choose your position before you meditate and only change it if absolutely necessary. Secondly, you don't actually need to change position at all. If you're falling asleep during meditation, this can be overcome over time as your meditation practice progresses. If you're dealing with aches and pains, you can learn to not only get comfortable with them, but use them as a tool to gain insight during meditation. The reason that I mentioned the possibility to change positions to tackle some of these issues is that as a beginner, the most important part of your meditation practice is establishing a consistent routine. If you make meditation too difficult for yourself right from the get-go, you may put yourself off and simply give up before it becomes a habit. It's much better to play around with a few different positions to make problems like mind wandering and pain less likely to occur than it is to try to persevere but end up giving up completely on meditation. Later, as your practice progresses, I suggest finding one or two positions that are well balanced, i.e. not ridiculously uncomfortable and not overly supported or comfortable, somewhere in the middle. Then you can learn to deal with both the issues of mind wandering and sleepiness on your own without using your position as a crutch. So, what if you're about to meditate for the first time now? What position should you use? Well, my advice for all beginners to meditation is simple. Sit comfortably. What that means for you is going to be very different from what it means for someone else. For one person to be seated comfortably, they need a nice pillow and some back support. For someone else, only laying down may be truly comfortable. And for someone else, a Caesar stool or cross-legged on the floor may be perfectly comfortable. Choosing a position you can maintain for at least 30 minutes without moving is the ideal way to decide on a position. Something comfortable enough that you can sit there for the whole duration of meditation. If you run into problems during those early sessions, make a note of them after the meditation session ends. Ask yourself whether these problems lean more towards too little comfort, i.e. being unable to sit still or getting up before the meditation is over, or too much comfort, i.e. falling asleep. Do note that as a beginner, you will likely encounter all of these problems at some point. Bodily discomforts, mind wandering, falling asleep are all common experiences during meditation. It doesn't necessarily mean that changing position will help. These are just some guidelines I'm giving you for you to experiment with for yourself and find out what works for you. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning, position and posture are not the most important things during meditation. So don't stress them too much. Pick what works for you and what allows you to be consistent. A consistent, regular, but slightly suboptimal practice is far better than being super focused on position and posture, but inconsistent with how often or how long that you meditate. Now, what about your eyes? What should you do with your eyes when you meditate? Should they be open or should they be closed? Well, I actually left eyes until the end of this video because there's not a whole lot to say on the subject. It really doesn't matter too much whether your eyes are open or closed. But just like with your sitting position, you can determine which will work better for you based on issues you are having during meditation. If you have a tendency to get distracted and look around the room, then try meditating with eyes closed instead. If you have a tendency to fall asleep and you're zoning out and you're getting all tired, try meditating with your eyes open as it may allow you to focus better. If you do decide to meditate with your eyes open, simply fix your gaze at a point a few feet in front of you, don't stare and don't look around the room and just relax your gaze. Once you've got yourself seated, now I suggest something that is rarely talked about when it comes to meditation, and that is warming up. Just like exercise, meditation can sometimes go much smoother if you warm up first. I'll be talking all about this in the next video, so if you want to ensure that you don't miss that video, be sure to hit the subscribe button and remember to click the bell icon beneath the video and enable notifications now. Be sure to also head down to the description down below and check out some of my products over on Gumroad, and if you'd like to support the channel you can check out my Patreon page. Last but not least, if you want to keep watching, pick one of the videos that are showing on screen.